Hi there, and welcome to the 2019 Advocacy Summit Know Before You Go training video. We are so excited to see you again this year on March 11th and 12th of 2019. That's right around the corner. So we wanted to prepare this video for you so that you could get all of the tips and tricks you might need to succeed at the 2019 Advocacy Summit, because together we're empowered to live yes. So let's kick it off with some event logistics, what you need to know before you go. Let's start off with a quick discussion about the apps that we might use during the event. We will have all of our agenda materials and conference materials loaded into an app called Attendee Hub. You should have received an email this week inviting you to join us on the app. This is the same app that we use for all other Arthritis Foundation conferences. When you open up the app, all you'll have to do is search for Arthritis Foundation Advocacy Summit, and you should be able to load the agenda into your app. The other option you have is to open up the emails that we sent and make sure that you can click in to verify your agenda needs from that email, and it'll load our agenda into your Attendee Hub app. The other app that we'll use is Lyft. It's a ride-sharing app that will allow us to go from our hotel over to Capitol Hill on our Hill Day. We will not be using buses this year. Instead, you'll be able to identify your ride, set it up, and shoot off over to Capitol Hill with your delegation in time for your meetings using this ride-sharing app. Your ride to the Capitol is on us with code 2019 Summit 19. And we will make sure to help you identify how to plug that code into your Lyft app later in this call. What I'm hopeful for is that ahead of the event, you can download both of these apps and set them up on your phone to ease some of the day of stress when you're joining us at the Advocacy Summit. Our Attendee Hub app will be your one-stop shop for all of your Advocacy Summit needs. We've included in the app important features like our agenda that allows you to select the particular sessions that you'll be going to. We have our conference info, information about our speakers and our sponsors, and some quick link buttons to important external resources like our Soapbox consulting mobile tool, where you'll get your Hill visit schedule and learn more about the people that you'll be meeting with, like our Twitter button that launches you onto the social media platform and allows you to connect with others across the country participating in our virtual summit campaign, and of course our Action Alert Center, where you can go and take action by sending a letter to your members of Congress. Each of these tools is directly populated within your Attendee Hub app. You'll have a social feed where you can stay engaged with the conversation and get more information and maps of the hotel and of Capitol Hill. We'll also have paper agendas available for those of you who do not have a smartphone, and we'll be sure to share that information with you. Simply remember to request it at registration and we'll be able to provide. When you're packing for your trip, there are a couple of things that you might like to know. On Monday, business wear at our hotel will be comfortable. We want to make sure that you are dressed in layers because of the cold weather or the cold air conditioning that you might expect at a hotel conference. When you go to the Hill the next day, we want you to wear business or business casual with comfortable shoes. You can see in this middle photo some examples of outfits worn to Capitol Hill last year. Remember that weather in March is unpredictable in Washington. You could have rain one minute and sunshine the next, so it's important to pack an umbrella and to make sure that you have comfortable shoes. Remember that rooms on the Hill and also at the hotel are chilly, so you'll want to dress in layers. If you are a returning Platinum Ambassador, we wanted to remind you to bring along your Platinum Ambassador pin from the 2018 Platinum Ambassador Assembly. These pins will be distributed again to new Platinum Ambassadors at this year's event, but returning Platinum Ambassadors will be expected to bring their pins from last year. Together, you'll be able to represent our 70 Platinum Ambassadors for 2018. The Renaissance Arlington Capitol View Hotel is a wonderful place to stay. You may remember it from our Platinum Ambassador Assembly last year, or even the Advocacy Summit the year before. Here are some helpful reminders. Check-in is at 3 p.m. and out at 12 p.m. Debit cards will have a hold upon check-in. Make sure to use a credit card so that you don't have any money withdrawn from your account. The Arlington Capitol View Hotel is very close to the Crystal City Metro station. There is a limited shuttle to Metro that you can catch from the Metro stop to the hotel and vice versa. There is a free shuttle bus from the Reagan Airport. It's handicap accessible and must be arranged, or a handicap accessible version must be arranged in advance by calling 703-413 and 1300. Please be advised that while there is a fitness center at this hotel, there is no swimming pool. Now, when you're getting to the hotel, there are a couple of accommodations or needs that you might like to consider before planning your travel. When you come from the Reagan National Airport, or DCA, Uber, taxi, and Metro may be the most appropriate, as costs won't be too high because they're very, very nearby to each other. Remember that there is a free hotel shuttle from 5 a.m. to 11 p.m. and that you can call for the nearest schedule for a wheelchair accessible vehicle at 703-413-1300. If you're traveling into Dulles International Airport, again, you can try Uber, taxi, shuttle, or Metro. You can check out the schedule at wmata.com, and remember that there is a super shuttle for van sharing. If you're traveling through Baltimore Washington International Airport, the travel from the airport to the hotel may be a little bit more complicated. Here are some things that you want to remember. There is a MARC train, M-A-R-C train, and Amtrak train that you can take from Baltimore into DC. It'll take you from the airport all the way to Union Station, which is at the heart of Washington, D.C. From there, it will be easy to either hop on another train or grab an Uber or a Lyft or a taxi that will take you to the hotel. Take a look for the MARC train schedule online ahead of your trip so that you can anticipate the cost and the time and judge your time the right way. Now, for Crystal City and Pentagon City, we're in a great spot for our hotel in Arlington, Virginia, and there are lots of amenities around us, including some exciting restaurants and some exciting shops. We've included in your welcome packets a Welcome to Washington, D.C. list that you can pick up at registration. It includes all of the amenities and all of the pharmacies nearby, and even includes a metro map that will allow you to better navigate the city. Now let's talk about getting to and from Capitol Hill for your Hill visits. This year, as we did at the Platinum Ambassador Assembly, we'll be using a ride-sharing app called Lyft, spelled L-Y-F-T. You'll be able to use promo code 2019 Summit 19 to secure your ride on us. Each participant will be offered a promo code that will allow them $30 to go from the hotel over to Capitol Hill with their delegations. We want to encourage you to ride together with your delegations and to use your carpool as a way to get yourself from the hotel immediately to the Hill building where your meeting might take place. So if you've been to the summit before and you know that we usually take buses, you'll know that usually once we have a drop-off at the Capitol building, that you have to walk from a central location over to the House office building or the Senate office building where your first meeting might take place. Using Lyft, you'll be able to instead plug in the exact address. So you can say, I'm going from the Renaissance Arlington Capitol View Hotel to Rayburn House office building, and you can plug that right into your app and it'll drop you off at the front door. So you can decrease on some of your walking time around the Capitol and increase the amount of time you have preparing for your meeting, getting ready to talk with your legislator and their staff, and so on. Now, if you have a wheelchair accessibility or scooter accessibility need, Lyft might not be the best way to transport yourself and your delegation from our hotel to our hill. Instead, we've contracted also with Yellow Cab Company, whose services offer wheelchair accessible vans. We will be securing your ride also on us ahead of time. It is essential if you're going to use a rentable scooter or wheelchair or have an electric wheelchair that you're traveling with to please let us know at registration, and we'll make sure to take a look at your hill visits to work with you to schedule these rides ahead of time and make sure that you have the appropriate amount of travel time to get to and from the hill without having to worry. Now, a word on scooters and wheelchairs. If you need to rent a scooter or wheelchair for the event, two companies that you might like to consider are Spectrum and Mobility Solutions. Spectrum's phone number is 301-587-2992. Mobility Solutions is 301-650-0035. Now let's talk a little bit about how you can secure your promo code within your Lyft app. The most important thing that you can do right now is to download the app on your phone. When you download the app, you can open up an account and you'll have to link a personal credit card to the app so that it will work. But it won't be charged because you'll be using our promo code. This year, the promo code is 2019 Summit 19. When you open up your app, you'll click into the top left-hand profile button. When you do that, you'll get a settings list that will allow you to click into promos. By clicking into promos, you can type in our code 2019 Summit 19 and press apply. That will give you our promo code from 6:30 a.m. on Tuesday morning to 7 p.m. on Tuesday evening. Now, a word on your promo code. It will be limited such that it will only transport you and your delegation from the hotel to Capitol Hill. You won't be able to take it to the Washington Monument or to the White House for any sightseeing. It will only allow you to secure a ride from point A to point B, the hotel to the hill, or the hill back to the hotel. So be aware when you're organizing your rides, if you do choose to use Lyft for a sightseeing visit later in the day or later in your trip, it likely will not work for you outside of the time frame or outside of the dedicated point A to point B trips that we've set up. Once you've applied the code, however, if you are calling a Lyft from point A to point B within that time frame, your ride will attribute to our promo code and you won't have to pay for it yourself. So we're really excited to use this again. And again, a quick reminder, if you need a wheelchair accessible vehicle, we are happy to help you organize that one. Let us know at registration and we'll connect you directly with Stephanie Livingston, our consumer health specialist, who will be able to help you arrange for your ride. One additional thing that you should note is our Soapbox mobile tool, which you can use to review your schedule, to review your delegation, to review your meetings ahead of the event. Soapbox Consulting is our amazing partner in this Advocacy Summit event, and they have helped us to make sure that you all have meetings with your members of Congress and their staff. Codes for the mobile tool will go out on Friday afternoon of this week ahead of the event. You'll be able to access the dynamic schedules as they change and as they update through the Soapbox mobile tool at sboxmobile.com. Throughout the event, we want to make sure you have access to the Soapbox helpline, so take a moment now to program the following phone number into your contact list. The Soapbox helpline can be reached at 202-362-5910. Again, your Soapbox mobile tool will be easily accessible through your app. You can see a screenshot of an app right here and where the Soapbox mobile tool can be, or button can be pushed. Here are some tools that will be available for you through the Soapbox mobile tool. You'll be able to see your schedule and you'll be able to story bank. If a member of Congress asks you to follow up with them with the documents that are included in your Leave Behind folder, you'll have all of those documents populated immediately into your app. You can send them a link right there from this tool. You can provide meeting feedback to our team, which is incredibly important for our ability to help you follow up after the meeting. So you'll be able to select the particular meeting that you go into, add in any feedback that you have from that meeting, and be able to share that with your team, your advocacy team, the state director of your region, and make sure that we know how successful your meeting was, or if there was maybe something that you could have done better or something that we could have done better, we'd like to hear about it too. You'll see more information about your team, your delegation, members of Congress bios, and one other tool that you can use is our Story Bank tool. This Story Bank will allow you to tell us what it means for you to advocate for arthritis. Now, before we shift into the Advocacy Summit agenda, I want to mention a couple of items that you might like to consider watching before you come to the summit that helps you master our legislative asks for the event. First and foremost, we have a number of training modules that are available on our website that will help you learn our 3 legislative asks, understand our Legislative 101, what to expect in your Hill meetings, and even do some legislative research ahead of the event. We encourage you to take a look at these 5 to 10-minute videos to really make sure you are familiar with our learning and familiar with our materials before you come to the event, so you can be comfortable, confident, and ready to go when you arrive in Washington. Our 3 legislative asks this year will circle around patient protections. The first is to reform step therapy requirements. Now, to get a deep dive into these asks, please watch our legislative ask training video. Step therapy requirements often cause delays in care for patients. What happens is a provider or a doctor might write a prescription for you, the patient, based on the symptoms that you're showing. But your insurance company might say, hey, we want you to try a cheaper alternative to this drug before granting you coverage for this expensive medication that your prescriber has offered. In doing so, we're creating a delay in care that requires a patient to try and fail on a lower cost medication before being granted access to the one their doctor will know works for this patient. We're trying to reform this practice so that it's truly patient-centered and that it can make sure that we protect patients around the country. We'll also be making sure to strengthen the Congressional Arthritis Caucus at our event. We have one of the largest bipartisan caucuses on Capitol Hill, and we don't want to stop with 130 members. We want to grow our caucus as much as we can. So we'll be asking our members of Congress to join us this year, especially those freshman members. Your third ask will be tailored to your home state, and your state coordinator and anybody who joins the intermediate training session for this ask will know more about this when we get on site. As for leave behind materials, you'll be able to use our Welcome to Congress packet and the state fact sheets, which are included in the Arthritis by the Numbers book that's coming out with a new edition just this spring. You'll also have contact cards that allow you to provide your name and address and information to your member of Congress so that they can get in contact with you after the event. We'll have follow-up materials available to you, including stationery where you can write a handwritten thank you note, and a follow-up guide which will allow you to share your story with your member of Congress, share with them the legislative leave behind documents that you use during your meetings, and make sure that you have this opportunity to continue your relationship beyond the meeting dates. Now let's talk through our agenda quickly. There will be 3 different levels of summit programming. The first is our Adult Advocacy Summit for all participants over 18 years old. This will be our full program, and it'll be supplemented by our Junior Ambassador Summit, meant for teens between 13 and 17, and our Children's Summit, perfect for children under 12 years old. As for the Advocacy Summit agenda, we start off our event on Sunday evening at 5 p.m. until 8 p.m. where our registration will begin. Here you'll be able to pick up your conference materials, your welcome folder, and so on to make sure you're prepared for the event. From 7 o'clock to 9 p.m., we're going to have our Platinum Ambassador Reception, an invitation-only event where our Platinum Ambassadors can mingle with some of the members of our Board of Directors. Please keep in mind that daylight savings time will take place on Sunday, March 10th. So be aware that you must set your clocks to modify that hour because we're going to have our time change there. As for Monday, we have a jam-packed day. We'll have registration available all day, and we'll have a morning wellness yoga session taught by Atticus Mooney from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. We really want to encourage you to go and stretch out your joints with some arthritis-friendly yoga flow that can help set your body up for success as you sit through the many sessions of our Advocacy Summit. We'll have a continental breakfast and our Kids Summit drop-off from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. One thing to note is that junior ambassadors will stay with their parents for the morning sessions until their transition and coffee break. Our opening session will feature Ann Palmer, Anna Hyde, Ted Cadwell, and Christopher Cush to deliver some really amazing learning and really amazing impact statements about our event. You won't want to miss it. From 10 to 10:45, we'll offer a Capitol Hill panel discussion that will give participants some time to hear from different levels of Capitol Hill staff about how advocates interact with them in their day-to-day work. We'll get to think together about how our legislative visits on the Hill on Tuesday, March 12th can be supplemented by a year-long engagement in advocacy with our Capitol Hill members of Congress and their staff. Then we'll have a transition and a coffee break. During this time, junior ambassadors will go into their own junior ambassador programming. And we'll do age-appropriate advocacy training sessions for each of our junior ambassador and kids summits, as well as our adult summits with our 101, 201, and 301. These sessions will be assigned to you. Those assignments are on your welcome folder and on your name badge. If you have any questions, just find one of our advocacy staff and we'll be happy to direct you. From 12 to 12:15, we'll transition to lunch. We'll pick up our kids and teams from their summit and bring them to our working lunch and delegation meetings. During our lunch, our state coordinators will be receiving the schedules for each of their delegates so that they can make sure that they know where they're going when they're going. Then we'll have a quick delegation meeting to make sure that everybody has what they need to succeed on Capitol Hill the next day. From 1:30 to 5, we'll have our breakout sessions that will feature different offerings at the Arthritis Foundation, including Connect events and advocacy, a really cool fireside chat with Ben and our special guest speaker, Christina Rieg from the Department of Insurance in Ohio. We'll have a precision advocacy session as precision advocacy through the year that will allow you to chart a winning course for advocacy through your time through 2019. And we'll even offer a family feud session. At nighttime, we'll have a dinner from 6:45 to 8:15, the Excellence in Advocacy dinner. This dinner will be attended by 2 members of Congress who are championing step therapy reform on Capitol Hill. It is expected that every participant at the Advocacy Summit joins this Excellence in Advocacy dinner. We'll also have awards distributed to 2 of our amazing leaders within our advocacy network, Karen Anderson and Ethan Berkovitz of Ohio. And we'll have a really fun time recognizing our 70 Platinum Ambassadors. From 8:15 to 9 p.m., we'll have an Advocacy Committee Chair meetup that will allow our Advocacy Committee chairs to discuss what they've learned throughout the day and identify ways to bottle up and maximize on that learning through the year in their hometown. To finish off our summit, we'll have one more day of programming. We'll have our checkout session, our continental breakfast, and some brief delegation meetings until 7:45. From 7:45 to 8:30, we'll have a brief closing and send-off, where you'll receive some housekeeping notes and some reminders for the day. From 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., you'll have your Hill Day meetings. Remember, you'll travel to and from these meetings using your Lyft app, or if you require a wheelchair-accessible vehicle, we'll help arrange those transports ahead of time. Thank you so much, and I wanted to let you know I am so thankful that you'll be joining us at this year's event. It would not be possible without all of your enthusiasm and energy behind advocacy throughout the year. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me directly. My name is Julie Eller, and my email is jeller@arthritis.org. Thank you so much for joining us, and have a great day. See you soon.